what you can find. I didn't think we were going to find anything up front there. You see the brick feature right there. I had a scratching my head for a while.
Yeah. They always ship floating in the water straight when they
But,
unload all that.
So the very first spot that we dug, which is kind of hard to make out now because it's been there's more work been done to it. But we started right down here, and we did a 10-foot by 10-foot excavation block. And we know from the Sanborn maps that this was where the blacksmith shop was. So climb down there real quick. So you can see here this disturbed soil right through here, and it's a little bit harder to see because we've got all this fresh dirt falling. But see how uniform this dirt looks right here? So this is all undisturbed soil, whereas over here you have disturbed soil. And we know from the Sanborn maps with the blacksmith shop being here that this is probably related to the blacksmith shop. And you can see kind of all these little bits of coal, rendered stuff, things that you may expect to see from a blacksmith shop. Now we also know that when they came in and during the 1914 to 15 time period and were constructing this building, they would have demolished anything that was on the lot pre-existing, and then they would have leveled the lot to make way for the building. So we can assume that all this disturbed soil would have been probably activities related to the blacksmith shop, and perhaps the structure having been demolished and pushed in to smooth out the job site. So this is the second area that we excavated, and we actually opened up our test unit right here. You can still see the string line that's remaining. And when we dug, this area had been covered in concrete up to about a few months ago because there was a renovation done sometime in the 40s or 50s. So at that time, they cut the floorboards, they kind of altered it and put the concrete down. I wasn't really sure what we were going to find. The first feature that we found was this diagonal brick feature right here. And then as we dug down, we began to find more brick. And it was kind of curious because I didn't expect to find, I didn't expect to find that brick there. Mm-hmm. And B, it's not following the pattern of the brickwork that we'd seen in here in our previous excavation, which is long continuous lines of bricks following the existing footmark. So this would have been an inset, kind of like a vestibule. And then, so we found all this archaeologically, but it didn't seem to jive with what we knew about the building from how it was, because when we got to the building, this was a solid facade, straight facade. So it was still a little weird. The final piece came when we actually got a drawing. Beth Pankow was done the day after the building was dedicated, and it actually shows a lady standing here looking into a window. So that showed us, that our what we had thought about the support structures and this ghost mark were all kind of coming together when we saw this illustration actually showing us the original front of the building, that this was in fact a little vestibule area leading up to the original doorway, which had been right about our new area that we're working in. And again, this is driven because this is where the floorboards have been cut for the renovation work, which is ongoing. Yeah. So this is our new excavation block. We're not entirely sure what's going on here because we've only just begun work. We haven't found any actual structures under there yet. In this excavation unit that we have going right now, we've actually found a lot of bone. So this is potentially a trash area, which we as archaeologists really love. because it just gives us a really good idea of what people were eating and you know, what their life was. So far, the artifacts that we've been able to identify have been from around the 1900 time period, which we can show you one of those diagnostic artifacts over here. Somewhat hard to see. You may have to take my word for it, but we actually have some script on here that says PAT dot, short for patent, April 10, 1900. So that's why we can say with confidence that the level that we're at is from 1900. Now, as we go down further, we may go down further in time, perhaps to the later 1800s. And we've found the lion's share of artifacts that we've recovered have come from that late 1800, early 1900 time period. However, there are some outliers, some artifacts that are older. We've found some from the mid 1800s. And we've also found artifacts going back to the 1700s. So we dig in layers. We're digging in half-foot layers, and the importance of that is these artifacts that we're getting out of the ground. They're all cool and they're wonderful, but their value for us as scientists is diminished if we lose context. So we're able to learn a lot about what a lot of what we're able to learn about a site is taken from the context of an artifact to other artifacts, and being able to capture where we've located the artifact in space and time. So what you're seeing there is the dirt that was excavated out of the unit was put in a bucket, and they're dumping it into that stream. And Wes is shaking that stream, getting the dirt through there. And what's left on top are basically artifacts.
We have buttons here.
Yes.
Ceramic. Here.
Yep, some ceramic, probably a plate.
Bottle cap.
Bottle cap.
Is that a key?
A bottle stopper. It may not be. It could be like a can key, you know how you twist something off.
Like span hand.
Exactly. Some shell. So this is something that, you know, they would have been eating.
Sleeve button maybe.
So more of these buttons,
Here's another
which is definitely neat, because we actually uncovered a button at the bottom of the last level. So we may be getting into another kind of like activity lens here with all these buttons coming up. This looks like the bottom of a very little bottle. See, there would be the bottom. The rest of it broken off. Very neat. In general, it looks like the density of artifacts might be kind of tapering off a little bit, but we're finding different. So all the artifacts are going to be processed. We take them, we do a lot of our processing work at UNC Wilmington, because they have an archaeology lab there. And so we'll wash them, and then I'll analyze them. And we'll keep a kind of an artifact list of everything that we find. And many of the artifacts are actually going to be, once this process is all finished, we've done our analysis, we've written our report, and the renovation is done on the building, a lot of these artifacts are going to come back here to the building to be displayed, so that after the whole process is over, we can continue to interpret the history and the archaeology to the public through the displays. So it's a very cool. So what we do is we do archaeology on privately owned land, and we do it in such a way that the public can come in and see what we're doing, ask questions, see the whole process of archaeology done. We're really trying to bring it home to people, to the average person, that archaeology is very much a thing here in southeastern North Carolina. It doesn't just happen in Egypt or Greece. you can come down here to Princess Street and see it being done. And we also do outreach activities to local schools, that kind of thing as well. We're trying to get the message out to everybody that this is archaeology is here. It's fun to do, and and we can learn a lot from it.